Should you study in Australia? Is it actually worth it? In this video, we're going to talk about 8 reasons why I do think it's worth studying here. As you may know, I did both my bachelor's and my master's here, so this is all based on my experience. And if you're from a non-English speaking country and you need to sit for an English test to meet specific English requirements, to enroll in a university, or perhaps to get a postgraduate visa, I have something very special for you. So if you're interested, keep watching. The first reason to study in Australia is that Australia has some of the best universities in the world. Australian universities are consistently ranking in the top 100 universities globally. Based on my experience, I think that the quality of education here in Australia is pretty high. Both throughout my master's and my bachelor's degree, I gained pretty valuable practical skills and theoretical knowledge that really helped me to excel at my job once I graduated. So yeah, I do feel that the quality of teaching as well is really good. And in relation to this, my second reason to study in Australia is that teachers are super supportive. Based on my experience, I found that the quality of teaching here in Australia is pretty high, and teachers in general tend to be pretty supportive of international students. Of course, there are always exceptions, but in general, teachers here tend to be super approachable, and if you have any questions regarding your assessments, assignments, you can talk to them if you need to and get guidance, or you can even ask them for career advice. In my case, for example, I networked a lot with my teachers throughout my bachelor degree and my master's degree, and this is something that I found that it was pretty valuable. Overall, the quality of teaching and how supportive teachers are, for me, it's a great reason to study in Australia as well. Another great thing about studying in Australia is that you can actually gain work experience while you are a student. So your student visa will allow you to work for up to 48 hours per fortnight and unlimited hours during the holiday break. So this is an amazing opportunity to gain valuable skills, transferable skills, to get a job once you graduate. And another benefit is the fact that having an Australian qualification once you graduate is going to make you much more attractive to prospective employers. So at the time of applying for a job, everything becomes a bit easier if you have an Australian qualification. Now, please let me clarify that if you're a migrant coming to Australia and you don't have an Australian qualification, that doesn't mean that you're not employable. International qualifications are still valid, but of course, if you studied here, that gives you a slight advantage. Another reason to study in Australia is that you can actually apply for a postgraduate visa after you graduate. The postgraduate visa allows you to live and work full-time in Australia for 2 to 5 years after you finish your course. And the number of years that you can stay on your graduate visa depends on your qualifications. I think this is another great reason to study in Australia, because once you finish your course, you can actually look for employment. You can look for a professional job, a job in your field. And perhaps you may even get sponsored, or you could apply for a permanent residency visa. Of course, all depends on your occupation and your eligibility, but this is another great motive in my personal opinion. Now, if you want to enroll in an Australian university to study here, or if you want to apply for this postgraduate visa, or even for a permanent residency visa, it's very likely that if you're from a non-English speaking country, you're going to have to sit for an English test in order to show that you meet a specific English language requirements. And this brings me to the sponsor of today's video, PTE. If you haven't heard, PTE, or Person Test of English, is the world leading provider of secure English tests, trusted globally by governments and institutions and by thousands of people every year. In Australia, PTE is accepted by the Department of Home Affairs for all visa categories, by all Australian universities, and by professional associations. Okay, now, but I can already hear you from the other side of the screen asking, why should I take PTE over other English proficiency tests? Well, the first reason is that it's simpler, because PTE, it's a computer-based English test that you take in a 2-hour single session, with most questions being super straightforward, simple, and short. Another reason to take PTE over other tests is that it's much faster than other tests, because it has frequent test dates. You can make last-minute bookings with hundreds of centers all across the world. And another reason why it's faster, it's the fact that you get your results typically within 48 hours. So if you're in a rush because you need to get your visa soon, this will give you peace of mind. And another benefit of PTE in comparison to other tests is that it's actually fairer. Because being a computer-based English test, you are assessed by AI technology that only judges your English skills. So if you don't feel comfortable speaking English in front front of another person because you worry that perhaps they're going to judge you based on your appearance or your accent or your personality traits, for example, PTE is amazing for that. So if you want to check them out, there is a 10% off promo code on all PTE preparation products. You are going to find the link in the description below, as well as a link to a 5-minute free PTE test taster and a form to participate in a prize draw to win a PTE preparation kit and a free test. Thank you PTE for sponsoring this video, and now let's keep talking about reasons why you should study in Australia. Another reason to study in this amazing country is that Australia is super multicultural. And because of this, you'll get to meet people from all over the world, from different cultures and backgrounds. And as an international student here in Australia, when I first came here years ago, I got to make friends from all over the world. It was crazy. From China, India, the Netherlands, Colombia, from so many countries. And I know that this will sound like a cliche, but knowing people and making friends from different cultures, it really opens your mind. Because perhaps sometimes you think that what people do in your country and how they behave is the norm or it's common sense, but it is not. People behave differently across cultures, and that's why as well I make all these videos on cultural differences, what is it like to work here in Australia, because we all come from different backgrounds, we all have different ways of interacting. So that's why I believe this is one of the main reasons as well to study in Australia. It's so multicultural that you're going to be exposed to a whole range of cultures and people. As you may know, Australia is very well known for its beautiful beaches and stunning landscapes and pretty unique wildlife. So if you're an outdoor lover or you're into sports, studying here in Australia is a no-brainer, really. So traveling and exploring is another reason why you should study in Australia. Australia has a pretty high standard of living, meaning people living here in general tend to live very comfortably, and this not only relates to pretty high salaries in comparison to other parts of the world, but also Australian cities in general are pretty safe, and again, especially when you compare it to other parts of the world. Of course, there is petty crime, but I've been in many big cities all across the world, and Australia is super safe. And another thing that really adds to a high living standard is the fact that Australia has lots of public spaces and lots of nature and free concerts. There are so many markets as well where you can buy different foods, again from all over the world. It's incredible that all the things that this country has to offer. Another thing that really adds to the high quality of living is the fact that Australians in general are pretty laid back and friendly and relaxed. I know that I've been saying this across all my videos, but that's a fact. Usually, again, when you go to big cities, you may be on the train or on the bus and people tend to be a bit grumpy or just not super friendly or chatty, whereas in my experience here in Australia, and again, I don't want to generalize, but in general, people are just in a good mood. It's all pretty chilled, and it really adds to your quality of living, I guess. And another benefit of studying in Australia is the fact that Australia has a pretty strong job market, as well as low unemployment rates, with many professional occupations being in high demand. So this makes Australia an amazing place to start your career and gain valuable work experience. And even if you're planning to go back to your country once you graduate, again, you're going to have really valuable international work experience, especially from a country like Australia, which is very well regarded across the world. Now, speaking of gaining work experience or knowing whether your occupation is in high demand here in Australia, as well as salaries, etc., I highly recommend watching my other videos here in my YouTube channel. I have a full library of videos about everything you need to know about working in Australia. Or if you want more personalized support or you want to go deeper into this topic in terms of how to network with Australian employers, how to prepare a strong job application step by step, how to practice for job interviews and build your confidence, I have a dedicated online course on how to land your first professional job in Australia. For more information, please see the link below. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to keep supporting the channel. I really appreciate that, especially if you're finding value in these videos. And yeah, I'll see you next time, and I hope you enjoyed this video.